Hi everyone, Weather Impact Alert Day here for East Texas, and our update as of 2:35 on this Saturday, Valentine's Day 2026. The rain has arrived in Tyler and in Smith County. Right now it's not severe or anything like that. It's a gentle rain, but it is expected to pick up here in the next hour or so. So rain currently coming down. Our temperature sits at a muggy 72 degrees. Dew points are in the lower 60s right now. We have a gusty south wind around 20 miles an hour. At times it's been gusting up closer to 30 miles an hour. Here's CBS19 live radar, and we just got word from the National Weather Service over in Fort Worth that parts of Henderson County and Van Zandt County down into Anderson County have what's called a special weather statement on those thunderstorms there. So those thunderstorms are going to be just below severe limits. All right, so they're producing perhaps 35 or 40 mile an hour wind gusts, and I'll take a look at those in just a second. By the way, thanks for tuning in here on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel and CBS 19 Plus. We'll take a few minutes, kind of dig deep into the storm and kind of break down what's happening here for you. If you were watching earlier, some of our data was pointing toward the showers and thunderstorms already being here. Actually, there was a little glitch in the program. It had been shifted to the east somehow, and so we've corrected that. We'll get a better timeline for you. But at any rate, this is the show, and it is now going to start to commence. We'll keep an eye on these showers and thunderstorms south of Athens to see if they get a little bit stronger. Let's zoom in down here to parts of eastern Van Zandt County. The thunderstorms have made it through Canton, haven't had any reports of any type of damage. Heavy thunderstorms right now in the Athens area, and those are moving to the east. On farther down that line, east of Fairfield, just west of I-45, the line of showers and thunderstorms near Buffalo and Centerville and Madisonville is trying to sharpen up just a little bit. All right, let me see if we can take a look inside and do what we call a little bit of wind tracking here on this storm. And you can see right in there in Athens, just east of Athens, south and east of Canton, we're getting a little bit of a stronger signature in the wind. So let me see if we can get a kind of sample on the winds. About 47 miles an hour right now on that wind gust here, right in this vicinity here. So about 40 to 47 mile an hour wind gusts coming through parts of central Henderson County and southeastern parts of Van Zandt County. Let me get a little sample on that. Van Zandt about 40 miles an hour right now on that part of the thunderstorm coming through Van Zandt County. Just about ready to move into parts of Smith County. So in western Smith County or eastern Henderson County, southeastern Van Zandt County, expect some gusty winds out of these thunderstorms as they move through here. Let me throw this into motion so you can kind of see what we're talking about. And you can see that little bulge right here. That's going to be those stronger winds that are moving into southeastern parts of Van Zandt County. And then in Henderson County, also some outflow from those winds approaching Lake Palestine at this time. And as they approach Lake Palestine, what we would expect is to see those 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. All right, let me see if I can throw a little track on this for you. Give you a timeline. The showers and thunderstorms are starting to pick up in speed and moving to the east. Well, I'll say about 35 miles an hour. I'll double check that for you. But you can see Van should be in those thunderstorms any moment. Chandler about 2:49, arriving in Tyler Pounds around 3 o'clock, in downtown Tyler at 3:12. Frankston around 3:20. White House about 3:32, and Mount Selman around 3:47 this afternoon. So let me double check the speed and movement of those storms. In fact, they might be moving a little bit quicker at about 40 miles an hour. So let's redraw that for you and give you another timeline on that. So they're moving to the east, 40 miles an hour. We'll also include Mineola in this next stretch here. So through Athens. And again, if you're just tuning in, this little line here, not severe, but it is tagged with a special weather statement with winds perhaps at 40 to 47 miles an hour. So some gusty winds are coming in to places such as Van, Hideaway, Tyler Pounds, Tyler, Big Sandy, Gilmer, and Jacksonville. So if you pick out your city there, you'll be able to see that Van is in that at about 2:40, so just in about a minute. So the thunderstorms are right on the doorstep of Van right now. Hideaway in the Lindale area, that's going to be around 3 to 3:01. Out toward the airport in Smith County, 3:11. Then downtown Tyler at about 3:24. Up toward Big Sandy at about 3:37. Over toward Gilmer at around 3:41. And this southern edge of that line coming into Jacksonville, if it holds together, at about 4 o'clock. So that would take another hour to hour and a half. Those storms, again, moving to the east at 40 miles an hour. Winds inside those storms estimated to be close to 40 miles an hour. That's below severe limits, but it is an indication that those storms are packing some gusty winds as they move in. Meantime, up to the north, we'll go on up here toward Interstate 30, toward Sulphur Springs, which we've had several reports of heavy rain there. Northern parts of Wood County, in the Yantis area, up around Lake Fork, also in Quitman. You can see some heavy rainfall also coming down. So let's track that for the folks who live out in Mount Pleasant and Winsboro and Pittsburgh. And we'll keep that 40-mile-an-hour wind or 40-mile-an-hour speed of these thunderstorms going. And they're essentially moving due east at this time. So they're being driven by strong westerly winds aloft and the upper level low pressure system that's moving into East Texas. So Winsboro, 245. Expect some gusty winds, maybe in the order of about 30 to 35 miles an hour. No special weather statement on this part of the line here, but it may get one. Newsom about 302. Hawkins at 313. So down here on the southern extent of that, in Hawkins about 313. Mount Pleasant, 316. As far east as Gilmer, about 333. Hopefully that jibes with the other line that I drew. Naples about 345 and Dangerfield around 355. So in this little segment here is where we may find some stronger winds. So let's see if we can put some wind on that, some wind data on that, and see what we're getting in terms of the wind field. Just north of Mineola might be the brightest green, around 20 miles an hour. So that's why it does not have the special weather statement tagged on it at this time. So again, we have some gusty thunderstorms. Really, this is going to be the strongest part of it. This might be picking up some intensity in the wind, but I just sampled that again. It was just about 20 miles an hour. But it's going to be this area here through Athens down to the west of Palestine. That line is starting to thin out just a little bit. There's a little bit of what we call inhibition left over, kind of preventing the storms from becoming stronger than what they could. So that's going to keep the severity of the storms down for at least the time being. But I'll go into why these may strengthen here before the day is said and done. These little showers popped up in an area where there was a little clearing. And so a little instability popped up, but notice as they move to the east, they didn't get any stronger. They're battling again against a little bit of a cap, and that's kind of odd for February to have a little warmer layer of air aloft that sort of suppresses the development of those showers. So they just will pass off into Louisiana as just rain showers, and we'll see if these thunderstorms back to the west can overcome that cap. Take a look at the visible satellite imagery here. Plenty of lightning going back into western parts of Henderson County. There's that little clearing where those little showers then fired up and headed eastward. You can see the tops being reflected by the satellite. So little bright white tops telling us that we had some little vertical development in the thunderstorms. Meantime, back out here, there seems to be the little boundary working its way southward into southern Cherokee County and also northern parts of Anderson County. But most of the lightning, the heaviest rain is going to be following that area up in Van Zandt County, up toward Franklin County and Titus County into Red River County. So that's where the heaviest rain is. In fact, if I go back to the radar image here, you'll see that there's quite a bit of rain falling in those areas. There's some heavy rainfall up here with a flash flood warning back in the Sherman area at this time. Those thunderstorms are going to be moving into that area where I think they can become a little bit stronger, but we'll wait and see. About an hour from now, we should know. At any rate, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma is keeping an eye on this area here in red where those thunderstorms are moving into for the potential, and it does include Tyler and Longview, Jacksonville, Center, Nacogdoches, and Lufkin. So anywhere in this red area may get either a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch later this afternoon. This area here had clearing south of Lufkin down toward Madisonville. So we'll see. Maybe we get a tornado watch that extends from parts of Cherokee County, Nacogdoches County, and southward, where these cells would move into that area of, let's say, untapped environment, and the leading edge of these could start to spin just a little bit. We just don't have as much instability in the Tyler area, but certainly possible. The other reason we think that these thunderstorms are going to strengthen is the main storm. The kicker part of this is out here, now just starting to turn and head toward East Texas. So the strongest winds with this storm are going to be moving overhead. You can see abundant moisture in the purples. Those are all ice crystals. All those ice crystals extending up to about 50,000 feet in the atmosphere. That little bit of drying down there between Houston and say Sabine County, maybe Hemp Hill toward Nacogdoches, that little bit of drying. So there could have been that little bit of clearing that could add to some instability. So as those winds move into that area, we may, and there it is, just a little bit of an eruption of some cloud cover that could become stronger thunderstorms here on the tail end right there. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that area there. We may get a watch. Again, southern Cherokee County, Nacogdoches County, probably a little farther over deep East Texas, Jasper, Newton County, Polk County could be involved in that. So that's just by looking at that water vapor imagery, that's a great tool to use. We can see what's going on in terms of the development of the thunderstorms. You can see the environment that is out there at this time. All right, let me see what we got. I'm trying to go back to our Facebook page here. If we got any questions, please let me know about those. We'll try to answer those for you. Got a lot of folks watching here. JT Hammond wants to know about Cushing. All right, so we're going to walk through everybody here in just a second. Cushing, I think, is like everyone, a chance for some gusty thunderstorms this afternoon. The severity on that will kind of depend on the way things are playing out now. From this point forward, we're just going to use some nowcasting techniques where we have to look at the environment, look at the clearing, and see what else we can see. All right. So Rob Williams says steady rain here in southeast Tyler. Thank you. Raining in Van now, and it's coming, and I'm glad, says Linda Williams. Very good. All right, so JT wants to know about Cushing. Let me go back to the radar and see if we can just kind of course, Cushing is going to be down here. Nacogdoches County is part of that area. Into Cherokee County also that's in that area that's currently being watched for the potential for thunderstorm watch or even a tornado watch. Little clearing going on here, so we'll keep an eye on that. Cushing's in that area of clearing, and if I go back to the radar, and I'm going to pause this so I can zoom in, and we'll zoom in down here. There's a very strange line going straight up north and south. Some electronic interference, but I'm not exactly sure where it would be coming from because the radar beam, it's not the radar beam. That's kind of weird. We'll see. We'll take a look at that. I'll look at that in more detail later. So let's go on in, and we'll see Cushing right there on the Nacogdoches-Rusk County line. So if I widen things out here, this little line of thunderstorms will be moving into Cushing. Give it a couple of hours. It'll take a couple of hours before it gets there. When it does, though, you could have, we'll see how this plays out. Again, right now, the thunderstorms are trying to build. There's a little bit of what we call a cap in the atmosphere, so a little warmer layer of air aloft that could do to these thunderstorms out to the west what it did to these thunderstorms. They moved into that area. They could not grow any more vertically than they were, and they were just basically maybe an isolated rumble of thunder and just a few showers. However, again, what I'm seeing is drier air here, and these showers and thunderstorms are beginning to get stronger at this time. I wonder if I can zoom in. Yes, I can. We can zoom in and add those counties here. So we're going to look right into that Rusk County, that clearing area. And then those thunderstorms are starting to develop now and move into Houston and Anderson County. If you were with us earlier, I showed you that area had about the best chance to see a severe thunderstorm warning today based on where the strongest winds would head over or go overhead and the instability and also the wind shear that would be accompanying it. All right, cloudy skies, rain right now in Tyler. Let's take a look at the temperatures. This has been a key today. Crockett's been the warmest, up to 74 degrees. Still kind of cool for severe weather at 74. Sometimes it's a measure of the dew point or the amount of humidity in the air that will override the air temperature. But we're at 72 currently in Tyler, probably getting a little bit cooler. Athens is down to 68. Sulphur Springs down to 60 degrees. Mount Pleasant is down to 64. Center has been under a cloudy, cool 62. While Henderson, that gauge is always just a little bit warmer at 72. Longview is just a notch under 70, and Gilmer right now at 68, while Lufkin's at 70 degrees. So that area right in there, that's my big concern if we're going to have a tornado spin up. And the storm energy, so this is the available potential energy, it's right there in Houston County. Up to the north, it's weak, and it stays weak throughout the afternoon. There will be some that comes back in tonight, but these are going to be elevated thunderstorms off. They're not surface-based. So they'll just be thunder, rain, and lightning late tonight. All right, low-level jet stream. This is another component that we're looking at. Why are we looking at this? Because these low-level winds at about 5,000 feet, a couple of things can happen. One, that energy or that wind speed can be downward transferred, brought down with the rainfall, down to the surface, and that can translate into straight line wind gusts. So anywhere in that green area would be a potential to see anywhere from a 50 to 65 mile an hour wind gust. That's why we're seeing about a 50 mile an hour wind out to the west. That has overspread the area here as of 2:45 this afternoon. We go to 4 o'clock, it's all across the area, especially down here toward Cherokee and Houston County. Then we go deeper into the evening to about 5 or 6 o'clock, and then it's gone. So it's a little bit of a change in some of that data from earlier that did show more of a bowing segment to some of that. Not seeing as much as that right now. All right, let me see if we got any other questions here on the Facebook. Appreciate everyone who's checking us out, watching us here on the Facebook page. If you know someone who might need some weather information, please share this page with them. If you're on the YouTube channel, thanks for watching. You can like and subscribe. You can also share that to another subscriber, or someone might need that weather information. All right, going to Sunday morning, there are some gusty winds aloft that will be brought down, so it's going to be a breezy Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. Severe potential going forward from here. And again, there it is. That's the area it cleared. That's the area that has the greatest available potential energy. Wind speed, the shear is there. And so if we're going to have a severe thunderstorm warning, it may be Anderson, Houston County, especially Houston County, where it gets elevated into that moderate range by about 3:45 this afternoon. We go forward from there by 6 o'clock. It starts to wind down as the thunderstorms are moving out, and then the severe potential drops back to very low as we head through the overnight hours. All right, here's the timeline, and we adjusted this again. We had this adjusted. It got somehow moved forward, and it was sped up a little bit, but we've corrected that little glitch in the software. So now let's go through, walk you through this. All right, so current time is 2:52. We'll go forward just a little bit, and the thunderstorm is pretty much resembling that, except they're farther straight south than what our in-house high-res computer model is indicating. It has more of a sort of a slant to it. But the overall general idea here is that we've got these thunderstorms now pushing through. By about 4 o'clock, they've cleared Mount Pleasant. They're pushing into Gilmer at that time. Mineola, Tyler, the heaviest of the band, should be moving into Tyler at that time. And Palestine may have already seen the heaviest of that band, but it's moving through Anderson County into Cherokee County at that time. 5 o'clock, now it's moving into the Arklatex. You've got this wavy line of thunderstorms, so anywhere in here, especially in parts of Houston, southern Cherokee County, we could have a severe thunderstorm warning. Maybe what we would consider a embedded tornado within the line, a quick spin up, a QLCS tornado, a quasi-linear convective system tornado. Look at that little kind of echo, that bow echo reflectivity that's showing up, at least in the modeling data. So maybe some straight lines moving into San Augustine, southern parts of Nacogdoches County. That's about 6 o'clock. The good news is by 7 to 8, it's out of here. Rest of the night's quiet. You can rest easy. Yes, it will rain overnight into Sunday morning with a cool rain and a wind out of the west that's breezy at about 15 miles an hour. So the rest of Valentine's Day, we've got a 4 p.m. temperature at 68 degrees and thunderstorms. Rain at 7 p.m., 59, few showers by 10 o'clock. All right, let's go back to the beginning of this and give you a look outside once again. Let me see if we got any more questions, comments, concerns from everyone who is watching here. Someone raining in Van now, according to Christy. Thank you very much. And that is about it at this time. So we really do appreciate you guys. Let me check out our Facebook, or I should say our YouTube channel. Bear with me as I monitor both of the social media feeds in case we have to answer any questions or comments. 68 degrees, so we've cooled down from 72 to 68 now. We still have this breezy south-southeast wind at 13 miles an hour. And the thunderstorms, we're going to spend about the next 6 minutes on these thunderstorms. We'll take a break and we'll come back and stream once these thunderstorms get a little bit closer to us. In fact, what I want to do here is zoom in just a little bit. There's not a ton of thunder or lightning, not a ton of lightning strokes, which I'm a little surprised. I thought this would be more of an electric storm, especially with thunderstorms and this kind of energy that we have dealing with, but there's a few out there. In fact, let me see if I can get a sample on the lightning. Sometimes we can do that with, I'll just pick a part here with those thunderstorms between Canton, Edam, Athens, and Coffee City, and just 12 lightning strikes. So that's not a ton. So these thunderstorms would definitely have to strengthen to get up to severe limits and see a lot more lightning. We'll keep an eye on that. Lightning sometimes can be an indicator of the updrafts in a thunderstorm. So how fast how fast the air is rising within that thunderstorm and how sustained those updrafts are in a thunderstorm. So if we're just seeing minor lightning like this, these are going to stay sub-severe, even though we are getting some reports of some gusty winds out in parts of Henderson County and Van Zandt County as it moves into western parts of Smith County. So that's good to see. All right, so try to do a little analysis here and widen things back out for us. And we may not be able to. We may have to widen it out naturally with the radar. All right, so you can see how it's this was going to stay as a line, but it's broken apart. Again, there are some limiting factors. We don't have a lot of instability in the atmosphere, but we do have some wind shear out there. And some of the best wind shear was right along Interstate 20 in some of the modeling data this afternoon. You have to look at different pieces of modeling data. Some will suggest one thing, others will suggest another. I've seen some data today that did not move these showers and thunderstorms even in this area until like 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. We are getting close to 3, so it's not that far off. But the main point here is that there's going to be different outcomes of guidance and what it's going to tell you. So you have to take it all into effect or take it all into account. All right, let me go back in here for anyone that lives in western Smith County. Let's see what we're talking about in terms of wind speeds. Looks like this is called range folding. So we're kind of in between the Shreveport radar and the Fort Worth radar. So we're kind of getting some garbage signals there. Both of the radar signals are getting kind of bent down to the ground. And so we're not getting a clear look at what's going on inside the atmosphere there. But let me just kind of give me an idea out here southeast of Athens, still about 47 miles an hour. So that's still in that vicinity of what we were looking at. All right. Back to the radar we go with some more questions. Just light rain, very dark clouds in Pittsburgh now, says Kamishi. Thank you very much. Happy Valentine's Day also to you. These radars are tricky because I'm looking at a radar and it looks like this line is splitting towards Anderson County. Yet, Dame, yes, it did. Tammy wants to know what it would be like in Brownsboro. This line of thunderstorms is coming through. That is exactly, Dame, what it does look like if you look at this. And again, you look at data, and data suggests that this line was going to just kind of stay all together and march across the area. I have seen some other data that suggests that this gets to about Nacogdoches and Lufkin and here into Deep East Texas, and then finally firms up into a solid bow echo. But we'll see. I mean, it looks like it's trying to come together down here toward Bryan and Personville, but certainly that part of the line did not reflect what the data suggested. It looks like it broke up a little bit. All right, there's a little bit of minor rotation was showing up around Franklin briefly, and that is it. All right, let me widen it back out here, give you kind of a bigger view of what's going on. We did have some thunderstorms. These little showers now are trying to pop up around Lufkin and Nacogdoches. This would be the area that I would be concerned because this is where there was some clearing. Temperatures back toward Crockett were around 74 degrees. So this is the area that has the best chance of putting all the dynamics together in terms of the instability, the winds at low levels, and some wind shear that could possibly make something turn a little bit. Otherwise, back toward Personville and Athens. Oops, let me go back. I want to stay on that radar image just for a minute there, just to kind of look at it and see what's going on. It does look like it's trying to fill back in here toward Crockett. And Crockett, again, the temperature there is in the mid-70s. All right, let me check. I need to check a look and see if radar, if anything else has been issued. No, we're still going with the special weather statement, which expires in 16 minutes, and that is going to be for Anderson, Van Zandt, and that was not even including Henderson County. It had Leon Robertson in that, but wind gusts were near 45 miles an hour. We sampled that thunderstorm and could see that inside there. So yes, Kathy Barker says windy in Hopkins County. Should be windy in Hopkins County, kind of all over with these thunderstorms. All right, let me walk through pretty quickly. I've only got a few seconds. I'm going to get off at 3 o'clock. But again, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We have a couple special weather statements monitoring this area here for a potential watch. That's because the main piece of energy is going to kick through as the afternoon goes on. but good news is it should be gone before 8 or 9 o'clock. And so overnight we can rest easy. But these clouds out there right now and the cooler temperatures sort of limiting the amount of instability that we see in the atmosphere. And you can see that reflected here in the storm energy in green. It just never really gets anything more than a little pocket of moderate by tonight. And low-level jet stream winds, wind shear certainly is there to support a wind gust that could approach 60 miles an hour. Again, it's probably in small, isolated spots. So we talked about the level 1 or 2 threat of severe weather. 1 would be a isolated threat of severe weather. Level 2 would be a slight risk or scattered thunderstorms. When you look at the severe potential, putting all of the ingredients together, there is still some potential through about 4 o'clock. By 6 p.m., it looks like it's trying to wane again. I just want to get back to the future skycast and leave you with that so that we can walk through hour by hour on this. So here we go. We're just coming up on 3 o'clock now. The thunderstorms are just moving into those areas that have the special weather statement in Van Zant and Anderson County. Should be moving into Smith County no later than 4 o'clock, through Wood and Upshur County by about 4 o'clock in Mount Pleasant, back toward Palestine. All right, we get to 5 o'clock and the thunderstorms begin to speed up. They went from west of Tyler all the way to Rusk County, into Upshur County, and back into Houston County within an hour. So as the main storm gets closer, the low-level winds that are driving and pushing these storms will also increase. And so that's when we could see the threat for a damaging wind gust, especially between about 4 and 7 o'clock in parts of deep East Texas. All right, appreciate everyone who's been hanging out with us this afternoon here on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel, and also on CBS 19 Plus. Keep putting those questions in there. We'll try to answer those as best we can. We'll have another stream coming up here probably in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll wait and see how the evolution of these storms unfolds. If they get stronger faster, we'll come on sooner, but right now we're thinking about 4 to maybe 4:15 for another stream. So keep checking back with CBS 19 Plus. Go ahead, download that CBS 19 Plus app, and also just our app in general, so that you can keep up to date on the forecast and CBS 19 Plus. If you have that up on your laptop, we will be popping on every once in a while with updates there. And of course, our Facebook page, you can always share or follow us there for updates throughout the afternoon. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great afternoon and a happy Valentine's Day.